Well, it's here. MLB 2025 playoffs start tomorrow. Yes, let's go. I want to take some time here to briefly run through each of the series. I'm going to go through a semi pseudo ranking system of each of the teams that are in the wild card right now, and then those that are waiting in a divisional series. But uh, start what a day on Sunday. Of course, the Mets metting hard hard, and they met it only to give it up to a Cincinnati Reds team who can't even hit the broadside of a barn if they wanted to. The This is a Reds team that is most assuredly going to get knocked out in 2 games by the Dodgers. Dodgers will absolutely manhandle them, and that'll just make it even more painful if you're a Met fan because you're like, we didn't get to the playoffs for that. That's why. Which isn't all true because really the Mets did it to themselves. But let's finish. Let's continue on with the NL. We have Dodgers, of course, hosting the Reds for 3 game sets starting tomorrow, and we're best of three. And then the Cubs, of course, hosting the Padres for a best of three. I don't see anything with the Dodgers here that should take them out other than some fluke thing where every starter just gets hurt. The games 1 and 2, and they just can't pull forward. But this is a team that's led the majors in strikeouts. Their pitching staff has, and in offense with Shohei and Freeman and Will Smith, and of course the resurgence by Mookie. This is a team top to bottom, never have anything to worry about. And then the Cubs Padres series. It's when you have a 92 win team and you're hosting a wild card series and you're kind of trying to figure out what went wrong and what if you're the Cubs, cold stretches, and when cold stretches, more specifically that offense, and hopefully that last week of the season the Cubs offense showed quite a bit of what they're absolutely capable of doing, and they're going against a Padres team where really their main strength is that bullpen, and you know the Cubs have a tendency to be able to put on runs late. I don't know how many they're going to be able to put on against this Padres relief core, but they should be able to get to the starters. I know on the surface, Nick Pivetta and Dylan Cease haven't really put up the numbers that you think they would. But the peripherals, the metrics all say that they are much better than their stat line. So, it'll be interesting to see how this Cubs offense responds. As far as the Cubs pitching staff goes, it's in shambles ever since Justin Steele got hurt beginning of the season. And now Cade Horton, of course, is on the IL, of course. And so Matthew Boyd, who was the all-star in the first half of the season, he's shown signs of wear as the season's gone on. He's thrown 179 innings this year, which is by far and away his highest innings total in any season. So we'll see what happens there. And then you you got to think JMO would pitch game 3. I'm thinking maybe Shota game 2. We'll see what happens. Shota's got bitten by the homer bug so much lately, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. Beginning tomorrow, on the AL side, you have the Yankees hosting the Red Sox, all for the chance to go play, you guessed it, Toronto. So this is going to be an interesting series or next 2 series because it's all AL East, and which is kind of fitting because this entire season, the second half especially, has come down to who's going to win the AL East crown. Can the Red Sox rebound after having traded Devers? Uh, will the Yankees flop? Will the Toronto offense kind of hit a stalemate? and none of those things happened. Each team has increasingly gotten better. Now, if you're asking me, out of the three teams, out of the Yankees, the Red Sox, Blue Jays, I'm going to say the Yankees are the far better squad. They absolutely have it nailed down when it comes to the rotation and offense is tops in baseball. When you got Aaron Judge, you got Cody Bellinger, you got Trent Grisham, you got Giancarlo Stanton, you got Ryan McMahon now. I mean, this is a yoked lineup filled with power hitters. And hey, it's great that they get to open. They're playing this whole best of three at Yankee Stadium, which will benefit the Yankees well, of course. The Red Sox, not really an overall offensive threat, more of a team game. Um, uh, this whole squad seems to be a team game, really buoyed by a strong starting rotation, and a great back end of that bullpen. So we'll see what happens. But of course, the Yankees, you got Max Fried, you got Schlitter, you got Luis Heel, and of course you got Carlos Rodon. Like this is it's silly what they have going on for the starting rotation, which actually helps because you never know what you're going to get with the Yankee bullpen. And then, of course, on the other end of it, you have Cleveland hosting Detroit, which is just such a shocker. A 15 and a half game lead. You know, if Detroit end up missing the playoffs, we'd be talking about two teams that met it hard this season. But I still think you could throw Detroit in that category. Now, Detroit never really did much to help kind of solidify that rotation at the deadline. And as great as Tarek Skubal is, and he's freaking phenomenal, he's only one man. Jack Flaherty wore down as the season went on. So, and of course, Jackson Jobe hit the IL early on in the season. But this is Skubal needs help. And honestly, like I wouldn't be surprised if Tarek kind of starts game one, you know, uh, if they throw him out there game one, and which he will be raring to go, he'll be ready, and he's gotten hot at the right time, which is great for the Tigers. But game two, a bullpen day, it's going to be one of those where and it luckily they're playing a Cleveland team that's not big on offense at all. This is not an offensive minded team outside of Jose Ramirez. But this is another squad that's buoyed by strong pitching, and which is something Detroit doesn't have, which is that works in Cleveland's favor because they can counter with that. And the winner of this is going to go to Seattle. Which shout out to Seattle for uh, not only making the playoffs but winning a division, dethroning the Astros from that crown, and then being able to bring at least you know uh, a, a best of five series to Seattle. With two guaranteed games at home. We'll see how they respond, but Seattle's pitching staff is absolute bonkers right now. When you got Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, uh, Brian Wu, who's been he's been the most consistent starter on this staff all season long, and he's just bringing the heat. And then, of course, Big Dumper out there, leading the charge with this offense. Seattle's middle of the pack when it comes to team offense, and which isn't bad at all, especially compared to when you got the Yankees and you got the Dodgers that are up there right now. But this is a Seattle team that I think is built to actually make a run in the playoffs as opposed to seasons past, because it was always we got the pitching. Let's see if the offense shows up. I think the offense will show up. I honestly think it will. And depending on if they play Detroit or Cleveland, we'll see. I think they match up pretty well with both of those squads. And then, of course, Toronto playing the winner of the Yankees and the Red Sox. Toronto really is kind of buoyed by a mid rotation, but really this strong offense that just comes together. I mean, it is next man up in this offense, and they're not high in the homer department, but they're but they're third or fourth, I think, ranked in the playoffs, the playoff teams for runs scored. This is a team that knows how to get on base. They play small ball. It's very timely hitting for these guys. It's a lot like the Milwaukee Brewers. Oh, geez, Drew Brees says the Eagles' offense is boring. Ugh, the Brewers' offense is nearly unwatchable. Who's even playing for the Brewers? Anyway, Toronto, rightfully so, earned that spot. They own the Yankees this season with that second half surge. So this is going to be an interesting AL side of the picture. And then back to the NL. Um, of course, we got the Phillies awaiting either the Reds or the Dodgers. Let's face it, it's going to be Philly, LA in that NLDS. And the Phillies, man, minus Zach Wheeler. I mean, dude, Christopher Sanchez is just otherworldly this season. I mean, Zach Wheeler was pitching out of his mind. So was Christopher Sanchez, and Ranger Suarez has turned it on. Aaron Nola has only been back off the IL for 5 weeks, 6 weeks now. So he's really starting to try to figure it out. I mean, I think he had 8 shutout innings against the Twins his last start out. So maybe there's something there that he's starting to figure out. I mean, Aaron Nola of Aaron Nola Pass could absolutely just make a run throughout the playoffs with this team. And of course, this Phillies offense anchored by Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber's absolute. I mean, look, I'm a Cubs fan. I know all about the Schwarber mythology of him jacking bombs and landing them on scoreboards. And this dude is absolutely incredible. He was made for the lights of October. It's going to be such a light show that he puts on. Fireworks every night from this dude at any given moment, no matter who's up there on the mound. And I absolutely cannot wait uh, to to see him just smash some of the balls in the postseason. And of course, the aforementioned Brewers waiting for the winner of Cubs Padres. Um, you know, normally I would say, ah, man, we got to go. If the Cubs make it out, they got to go play. The team that beat them out for the Central. But honestly, like the one team that Brewers have had a problem with this season are the Cubs. And the Cubs have done a good job of being able to kind of just be real competitive with the Brewers and kind of having their number, so to speak. So it will be interesting. Of course, if you're a Cubs fan, Padres fan, Dodgers, Reds, Yankees, Red Sox, Tigers, Cleveland, you're not focused on the NLDS, ALDS. You're focused on the wild card round, and it's going to be fun to see. It's going to be a great time of baseball because playoff baseball is back. October baseball, nothing beats it. It is it to me. It's the best thing you could buy for your money. I do want to bring up two firings today. One not so surprising, one a little shocking given what they did at the deadline. Um, the Twins, of course, fired Rocco Baldelli. Not very surprising given just how much they underperformed this season. And I didn't see the Twins winning the AL Central, but I didn't see this happening. I just didn't see a total collapse. So, maybe there's something there that they might have, somebody in mind that they want to bring up. I know Will Venable did a pretty good job with the White Sox this year, so we'll see what happens with the Twins and their job search. But Bob Melvin getting fired from the Giants, and like I said, surprising given all the moves that Buster did right up to and at the deadline, to make this team better. And it was one of those weird soft sells. It was like let's buy and then let's sell. It was one of those weird ones where I definitely got the feeling I walked away from the deadline thinking, I think Buster's doing like a walk in the line thing. I don't think he's tearing down this team. I think he's trying to improve them on the edges. And so we'll see what happens with that giant search. I don't really have any names off the top of my head right now, but if I'm Bob Melvin, I mean, maybe he takes a year off. I don't know, but um, I mean, maybe the Mets end up firing Carlos Mendoza and saying, "Hey, Bob, why don't you come manage this Mets team? You seem to know how to do it. You seem that you seem to have an idea of how to manage big names. I also wouldn't mind seeing Bob Melvin maybe go somewhere like um uh uh the Rockies, maybe. Uh, he was a manager of the A's for so long, no payroll. Um, and then you had just like your stars that developed into stars. I'm not saying Colorado's like the A's, but I think that'd be pretty interesting to see what Bob Melvin can get out of this this Rockies team. And But other than that, October baseball is here. I'm excited to see it. Uh, you're happy, I'm happy. Let's be happy together watching playoff baseball. And until next time, stay thirsty.